What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. In this episode, I'm going to be taking you through how to properly do an intake manifold. This will work on any intake manifold. They're all going to be generally the same. Unless it's a multi-piece manifold, there might be some variance, but same techniques are applied all across it. This is an Edelbrock Victor X intake manifold, obviously, for a Honda. I was told this was in a fire. I don't know too much about it. Inside, fairly clean. We're going to throw it through the chemical stripper, so it's not going to matter too much. But I'm going to go through all the process for you. He actually wants the letters to also be powder coated. We're just doing this in a really basic silver. Shouts to Alex for being super basic. First step's going to be going through the chemical stripper. Got to get all the random crap that's inside of it out. It's just got some oil and random stuff from use over time. And we'll go do that now. Alright, got this thing out of the stripper, got all rinsed off. Doesn't look like it changed much out here. I was mostly worried about getting stuff on the inside handled, which it did. So next thing is going to be blasting, but I wanted to go over this real quick with some of you guys, especially if you're doing this for other people. Your customer is going to have some level of expectation, and it's best to figure out what that is early on, as far as like masking and how things are prepped. You have these flanges on the back here, and ultimately there are going to be some customers who want that bare and some customers who don't care. I tend to coat them unless I'm told otherwise, as opposed to like this flange is obviously going to get taped off no matter what, as well as this flange and this flange, plus masking all the areas for injectors. So like I said, it's best to figure out what people want, so you can make sure to do this right, because going back and removing the powder off stuff like this is never fun. Plus it gives you what I call like a broken edge, where powder ran all the way up to one spot and then you basically like took a sander and ground it off. That is not the ideal way of doing that. So if they wanted these bare, what I would do is go over, sand them all, probably give it like a brush finish or similar, mask it, and then spray it all. So I'm gonna finish getting these out, which I was started earlier and never actually did. Get these little pieces out, plug a few of these threads up before blasting, get it in the blasting cabinet and knock it out. We'll get going on that right now. Well, guys, I'm failing miserably at this. I got this one is coming out finally. This one and this one. This one was stripped super bad, and I was pretty sure I wasn't gonna be able to yank it out anyway. This one didn't seem bad at all, but it is for sure stuck in there. I used heat, torched the crap out of it, trying to heat it up, put some PV on it. I mean, absolutely nothing is working now. So probably gonna leave that one in. Already talked to the customer about it. He's aware, so we'll just leave it at that. Got this thing fresh out of the blasting cabinet. Gonna throw it up to outgas right now. Probably go over and clean it again, just because I know this thing has been through a fire. It's been through a chemical stripper. Had a bunch of oil and stuff also on it. So we'll go through, outgas it, blast it a little bit, just to make sure it's all clean, and get to masking. All right, got this intake manifold. Been cleaned, blasted, outgassed, and now we're gonna do a little bit of masking before coating it silver. Shouts to Alex for picking a super boring color. One time he talked about doing a yellow valve cover, so I'll give him some credit. But every other time it's something boring. You know who you are, Alex. So we will once again throw 6mm threaded bolts into this. That is not the be-all end-all of all bolts. There is stuff in one of these. Let me blow this out real quick. Alright. Yeah, so it's not always a 6mm threaded bolt, 6 or 8. I just do a lot of import stuff, or even a lot of the American stuff is now metric. So I use 6 and 8, and then I have metric stuff or standard stuff too in bolts. Not as many options, but I have them hanging out in case I ever need them. So a few more bolts gonna go in this thing. Throw some tape on it real quick. Put this over here. And these are the flanges that you for sure every time have to mask off. This is a sealing flange. You don't want somebody either just bolting this on and having weird powder areas all over the flange, or even just taking a sander. I've seen a lot of people take a DA or a Scotch-Brite disc on a grinder and, you know, theoretically make this all flat again. Well, you're never going to do that with hand tools. No matter what anybody ever tells you, you'll never do that with hand tools. So unless you have access to a mill and you can mill this all back down perfectly smooth, then you need to mask it off. So take the X-Acto knife, do a little bit of trimming. And I found it's best you hold it like probably like a 60-degree angle, somewhere in that range, and just slide it along. If it feels like it's catching on the tape at all, just move it down and back up and it'll just cut and keep going. Or you might need to put a new blade in. I buy the blades that I use on Amazon by like, I think it's a 100-pack for $10 or $8. And if mine even feels a little bit dull, I immediately replace it. They're too cheap. It's not worth the hassle to sit and mess with a crappy blade for no reason. And then I know I did a Subaru intake manifold not too long ago, but I don't think I did like a how-to on that. I am going to do a how-to on a Subaru intake manifold, just because there are a couple things that I do differently, or that not only do I do differently, but most powder coaters do a little bit differently. I also am told that I have like an old carbureted V8 small block Chevy manifold coming in, so I might as well do one on that as well. I'll probably do those two in the same episode, just because I can't imagine making 3 episodes of how-tos for the different types of intake manifolds, especially considering that would only be 3 types of intake manifolds. Still not enough. Get that tape. The camera angle is not going to be great for doing this end, so I apologize, but it is what it is. I'm left-handed. Got to work with me some. And this tape, I don't know if anybody out there has seen this amber tape available in 6-inch wide. I cannot find it anywhere. I got in contact with a couple places that said that they could do it for me, and then the communication would always just kind of dwindle and it would never actually happen. So if anybody knows where to get this amber high temp tape, please let me know in the comments or Instagram. You can put my @unknowncoatings Instagram, or you can email me, just unknowncoatings@gmail.com. Text me, my business number is listed in the description here. So I would love to find this in 6-inch, because I want to be able to tape hub bores, or not hub bores, mounting flanges for wheels in one piece of tape. That would be ideal for me. Grab the X-Acto again. Another little pro tip for cutting tape that I think most people will probably just figure out naturally. If you pull the tape tight as you're cutting it, it cuts a lot easier. It's kind of nice. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm happy about the whole Corona outbreak thing, but it's allowing me to play catch up on getting projects done, because I have been absolutely swamped. I mean, even since the Corona outbreak, I've been getting a lot of work in, but when people assume that work is not happening, They tend to back down a little bit, or the economy is crashing. I guess it could be either one. Both of those probably play a role. Oh, this last little piece is being a pain. All right. Okay, so other things that we need to worry about on the masking process on these. It's got a couple areas for press-in fittings. I'm guessing like the IAT sensor and such go into here. I would normally tape this off. I go back and forth. I usually would just ask the customer what they want. This time I am not going to be doing that. But, oh, that's even smaller. I am going to put some bolts in it, same as usual. All the threads, block off all the threads. I keep moving away from the microphone, so I apologize. So I need 1, 2, only 2 of those left. These have steel inserts in them. That was probably really loud, I apologize. These have steel inserts in them, and the steel inserts have been like pulled on, so all of them, the tops of them are kind of sticking out. It's a little bit of a pain in the ass to deal with. I know I don't normally use gold bolts to do this. These are just old garbage bolts that can't be used for anything great or anything worth discussing at this point. Now, do a couple silicone plugs in some of these. It's best to find as much variety in plugs as you can get. I mentioned in a video before, I got some from hightempmasking.com. I think I've also bought some of their stuff on Amazon, not necessarily realizing it was them. They have some good packs of stuff that's already, you know, like a pre-set up pack, so you get a good bit of variety, which is super useful. Like if you're just starting out especially, and you don't know what you're gonna need, going that route is for sure a good decision. Just because you can see exactly what you end up with, all the sizes are listed, and then you can just order more of what you need. Or they'll sell a kit that has 20 different things in it, or 10 different things in it, and you can figure out which ones you actually need, and you can just buy a bag of 100 of those. Because there's definitely some that you use way more often than others. And these are all NPT threads. These are all for boost lines and random crap like that. So these are all like really obscure sizing. Well, I mean, the variety is wild. And I haven't organized my plugs in a long time, so they're looking a little bit ridiculous in this 2 boxes over here. Actually, I might do that this weekend. Add that to my already ridiculous list of things to do. I have to find something to go in those ones. All right, most of this stuff is handled, so we're gonna go, I'll get to these other 2 in a minute here. I'll probably pause the video before I do that. But last but not least is the injectors. These injector holes are kind of weird. So the casting is still pretty visible right at the opening, but as you go down, it's actually a machine surface. You're more worried about the machine surface than the other surface that sits up here. So if you can find plugs that plug that machine surface, that's your best bet. A little bit of overspray going into that opening, the first initial opening on this particular manifold, is not going to matter. Though I will say it varies manifold to manifold, so don't go powder coating something and tell me, oh, you said I could do this, because I'm for sure not going to take responsibility. it's not the right size. Oh yeah, it is the right size. Okay, I'm just gonna plug those last couple holes on the back, and we'll hang this up and start throwing some powder at it. All right, got the Burton Silver all loaded up. Gonna start throwing some powder at this thing. Make sure the settings are all right. And silver is one of the ones that's kind of hard to tell if you're getting it even, just because, especially if you're shooting over a blasted aluminum part, because they look the same. The same general trick still applies. Using a flashlight, LED flashlight more specifically, will definitely help you identify spots that are an issue. This style of manifold is actually really easy to powder coat. There's some of them that the plenum is really tight up to the head flange, and getting it in between the runners kind of sucks, but this one worked like a champ. It's already all coated in Burton Silver. We'll get it thrown in the oven. I'll go around and just check it one more time. Go get it thrown in the oven right now and get it cured. Get this thing out the oven and ready. It's been cooling down for a little bit in the oven, if I'm going to be perfectly honest. It's still pretty warm, but yank all these plugs out now. So I almost always take plugs out while it's still warm. Bolts is kind of whatever. And yes, I am just throwing these on the ground. I'll let them cool out and sweep them up later. Leave the rest of those ones will be fine. Like I said in other videos, it's always better to pull the tape off when it's still warm, or it always works out better for me at least. I know the green tape people seem to like to pull cold, and I have no idea why, because I think that's way more brittle than this amber tape. But that is 100% a personal preference thing. I'm sure there are powder coaters watching my videos that cringe over some of the stuff I do. So there's definitely more than one way. I'm not an expert necessarily. I was actually thinking the other day, is there any channels that you guys watch that are similar to mine? Like powder coating channels, have similar type of content or similar content, whatever. If so, send me a link to them, or post their name or something down in the comment section. I'm always looking to check out other pages and see what type of stuff they're doing. Ooh, that one's still warm. Sweet. Alright guys, there it is. All done, all the masking's pulled, bolts are all out, all that shenanigans. Came out nice. This is a great color. This is Burton Silver. It's just kind of a generic silver I use for all sorts of things. Hopefully this how-to was semi-useful. I know it's kind of a random one on just how to do an intake manifold. Like I said, I have a couple other intake manifolds coming in. I'll probably put those in another video. This just gives you a kind of a general idea of the things you need to make sure that you mask off. Yeah, if you guys got any more questions, be sure to leave those down below in the comments section. I'll be happy to answer them for you. Customer's on his way to pick it up right now. Got a couple more how-to videos in the works right now. Got some valve covers, some 3-piece videos as well. Hopefully you found some use in this. As always, like, subscribe, comment, turn on the notifications so you know every time we post a video. Thanks. By now you should have at least known. It's funny, I'm mad famous for being unknown.